August 12, 2000. In the icy waters of the Barents Sea, the Russian submarine Kursk disappeared without a trace during a routine naval exercise. What began as a showcase of military might turned into one of the worst submarine disasters in history. How did a vessel designed to withstand the depths of the ocean meet such a catastrophic fate? And why did the world wait so long for answers? This is the story of the Kursk Disaster, a tale of tragedy, heroism, and unanswered questions. The Kursk was no ordinary submarine. It was a nuclear-powered titan, built to be the pride of the Russian Navy and an indomitable force beneath the waves. Its crew, 118 sailors strong, was among the finest in the fleet. Yet, within moments, a catastrophic explosion sealed their fate. As the world watched in horror, the Kursk became a symbol of human vulnerability and the stark realities of modern warfare. Today, we dive into the haunting mystery of the Kursk disaster, piecing together the events that led to its untimely end. Launched in 1994, the Kursk was a masterpiece of Soviet engineering. At 154 meters long and armed with cutting-edge weaponry, including the fearsome granite missiles, it was a formidable presence in naval warfare. Its double-hull design made it nearly impervious to external attack. On paper, the Kursk was unsinkable, but beneath its impressive exterior lay hidden vulnerabilities. Critics questioned the aging technology used in its construction and the state of maintenance in post-Soviet Russia's struggling navy. These flaws would become tragically evident on that fateful day in 2000. At 11:28 a.m. on August 12, disaster struck. A faulty torpedo in the Kursk's forward compartment ignited, triggering a massive explosion equivalent to 100 kilograms of TNT. The blast tore through the first two compartments, killing everyone in the affected areas instantly. Within minutes, a second, even larger explosion, equivalent to 3 tons of TNT, ripped through the submarine, causing catastrophic damage and sending the Kursk plummeting to the seabed. The Barents Sea fell silent. For the 118 sailors trapped inside the Kursk, the nightmare was just beginning. In the immediate aftermath, 23 survivors gathered in the submarine's stern, clinging to hope as oxygen dwindled and temperatures dropped. In the hours following the Kursk sinking, the Russian Navy launched a rescue operation. Submersibles and divers raced to the scene, but the harsh conditions of the Barents Sea and the submarine's 108-meter depth presented immense challenges. As hours turned to days, the hopes of saving the 23 survivors trapped in the stern began to fade. Meanwhile, the world watched anxiously, offering assistance that Russia initially refused. The delay in accepting international help became a controversial aspect of the disaster, raising questions about pride and accountability in the Russian Navy's response. For the 23 survivors who had managed to reach the Kursk's rear compartments, the situation was dire. With oxygen running low and the temperature dropping rapidly, they faced an agonizing wait for rescue. Notes later recovered from the wreck revealed their final hours, a mix of desperation, hope, and acceptance. These men, isolated from the world above, embodied the sheer resilience of the human spirit. As carbon dioxide levels rose, the survivors improvised makeshift filters to extend their survival time. Despite their efforts, the unforgiving environment of the submarine proved insurmountable. The last entries in their notes were poignant farewells to their families, a haunting reminder of the personal toll of the disaster. As the hours turned into days, the Russian government's response came under scrutiny. Offers of international assistance from Norway, the United Kingdom, and the United States were initially refused. Russian officials maintained a facade of control, claiming that rescue operations were progressing despite mounting evidence to the contrary. When international help was finally accepted, it was too late. By the time Norwegian divers reached the Kursk, the 23 survivors in the stern had succumbed to the harsh conditions. This delay fueled widespread criticism, highlighting the consequences of prioritizing national pride over human lives. In October 2001, over a year after the disaster, an ambitious recovery operation was launched to raise the Kursk from the seabed. The effort involved cutting-edge technology and a massive international team, working in treacherous conditions to retrieve the submarine's remains. The recovery was both a technical feat and a somber reminder of the lives lost. The Kursk was lifted to the surface and transported to a naval shipyard, where investigators examined its hull for clues. The operation underscored humanity's ability to confront tragedy with determination, even in the face of immense challenges. The investigation into the Kursk disaster revealed a devastating sequence of events. The initial explosion was caused by the failure of a practice torpedo, which used an unstable fuel mixture that ignited upon contact with seawater. This set off a chain reaction, detonating nearby warheads and causing catastrophic damage. The inquiry also exposed systemic issues within the Russian Navy: outdated equipment, inadequate maintenance, and insufficient funding. These findings painted a stark picture of the challenges facing the post-Soviet military and the human cost of neglect. For the families of the 118 sailors, the Kursk disaster wasn't just a national tragedy, it was personal. Many felt the Russian government's response was insufficient, and some accused officials of withholding the truth. Public outrage grew as details emerged about delayed rescue efforts and systemic issues within the Navy. Family members demanded answers, organizing protests and speaking to the media. Their persistence ensured that the tragedy of the Kursk would not be forgotten, highlighting the human cost of institutional failures. Despite their grief, they became powerful voices for accountability and reform. The Kursk disaster became a flashpoint for media coverage, both in Russia and internationally. Journalists exposed flaws in the rescue operation and revealed the Kremlin's reluctance to accept foreign help. The Russian public, already grappling with the struggles of post-Soviet life, viewed the disaster as a symbol of a weakened military and government inefficiency. Meanwhile, international media framed the Kursk as a cautionary tale of overconfidence in outdated technology. The disaster became a rallying cry for transparency and reform, shining a light on the challenges faced by modern militaries worldwide. The Kursk disaster forced the Russian Navy to confront its vulnerabilities. In the years that followed, significant reforms were implemented. New training programs were developed for rescue operations, equipment was upgraded, and maintenance protocols were improved. These changes aimed to prevent future tragedies and restore public confidence in the military. However, some critics argued that these measures came too late. The Kursk remained a stark reminder of the dangers of neglecting military readiness and the high cost of systemic inefficiency. The lessons of the disaster resonated far beyond Russia, influencing naval policies around the world. The Kursk disaster forced the Russian Navy to confront its vulnerabilities. In the years that followed, significant reforms were implemented. New training programs were developed for rescue operations, equipment was upgraded, and maintenance protocols were improved. These changes aimed to prevent future tragedies and restore public confidence in the military. However, some critics argued that these measures came too late. The Kursk remained a stark reminder of the dangers of neglecting military readiness and the high cost of systemic inefficiency. The lessons of the disaster resonated far beyond Russia, influencing naval policies around the world.
Thanks for watching, and subscribe my channel.